Sebo, Seva, and Andy Burnell. Birch, welcome, my man.
Hello, mate. How are you? Good morning.
Yeah, good, mate. Seva sends his apologies today. He's since lockdown, he's taken the family away for a weekend, so it's just you and I today. But, mate, you've had a big week this week. It's been the week of Andy Burnell, the technical director now of Monaro Panthers.
Yep.
And are you wearing a new Lexus hat? Are you? Talk me through that.
I am, mate. The guys down here at Lexus in Canberra have always been very supportive of projects and things to do with where I want to go in football and in broadcasting, and always very, very supportive. And we're working on a new deal, a new partnership, and I'm very blessed to have them on board. Lexus is a fantastic brand, fantastic company, and you'll soon see me driving around in one of their beautiful vehicles, mate.
How good. And talk us quickly through the technical director role, and then what you see the role as, and how you're gonna put your Andy Burnell stamp on the Monaro Panthers.
Look, I think I took the role because I wanted to. If I was going to join a club outside of the A-League, I wanted to join a club with history, a club from this region that has previously represented at National Soccer League level, that has had in the ranks, Socceroos like Sebastian Giampaolo, Walter Valeri, the great Roberto Vieri at one stage was player coach, Christian's father, and I just think, and before I forget, and how could I, the great Harry Williams, the first Indigenous, Socceroo. It's a fantastic club. And, I want to bring a new bar, a new level to it where for many years, this region, the ACT NPL has been considered inferior.
Yep.
To New South Wales, to Victoria, to Queensland, to Western Australia, to South Australia, to all of them.
Yep.
And, I believe there is more strength in depth in the other states, but I believe we can, put together a good side that can challenge any top NPL side in Australia. And, I joined forces again with Frank Casher, who was the head coach at Canberra Olympic.
Yeah.
When I also joined him for a similar role, and we won everything that was to win down here and made the semi-final of the FFA Cup against Sydney FC. So that's really it's to join them, to set higher standards, to oversee the messages that all the coaches are delivering to the young kids. To the for their development, whether it's the boys or the girls game, and if I can improve the whole club in a way that people can go on and become Socceroos, Matildas, from a base here in a little town called Queanbeyan outside of Canberra, then that's what I'm going to do. But I want everyone that plays for that side to understand that it has a history.
Yeah.
And when you run out, at the Marco Polo Oval, you need to understand that it was built and formed in 1967 by Italian immigrants that came to Australia. We're very proud of where they came from and embraced this nation and created a wonderful club, and whether it's the young kids at the club or whether it's the first team, you run out onto that pitch and you're representing, something grander than just yourself.
Yeah.
And anything after that, is icing on the cake for all of us. If that role leads me to, a sporting director role, coaching, or some kind of coaching role or capacity within an A-League setup, then, that's something that I would embrace.
Yeah.
And something that is part of a process that I'm going through now. But yeah, I'm honoured to join, a very historical club.
And mate, as we've spoken about on the podcast, and we've interviewed you on our Hedo and Seva show too, you do bring a wealth of experience and knowledge from where you've played, and that's what I'm going to tap into today Birch. And before I tap into that, today's show is brought to you by MG Active. Visit mgactive.com.au to get your 5-day free pass. And they've just started a 6-week challenge. So if you want to get on the back of that, get on their website and have a look. Mark Guy, Logan Guy, and Montana Guy will look after you. They're doing a great job. So we appreciate their support. So thanks, guys. Now, Birch, I want you to take us over to Spain. Matty Ryan had a wow of a game during the week. Real Sociedad obviously win 2-0, go top of the league. They've been joined at the top of the league by Real Madrid this week, but his performance was, to me, outstanding for a guy that hasn't played a lot of football as the starting goalkeeper and just comes in and pretty much saves the day.
Look, I think when isn't Matty Ryan outstanding? You know, I don't really, know of many games where, he's not been of a highly, consistent level, that has allowed him to play where he's played. Yeah. It's no mean feat playing in La Liga, for a team now that is top of the league, for a team that is built on, comes out of the Basque region of Spain, along with Athletic Bilbao, and who have prided themselves over many, many, many years of developing their own talent from the region and putting that talent into their sides. Yeah. So for a foreigner to go there and as a goalkeeper, hats off. Matty just does what he does all the time. He's one of these keepers that if he had gone to England at a young age or been brought up in the UK, probably wouldn't have even got through the system. He's more, if you look at two very wonderful Spanish goalkeepers of the past, Iker Casillas, yeah. And even before him, there was a guy called Francisco Bullo, who played for, he was out of Seville and he ended up at Real Madrid. And same kind of body type as Matty. They're not overly tall goalkeepers, but when it comes to reflexes and shot stopping and ability on the ball, the distribution from the back, excellent, excellent quality. So I think for me, Matty Ryan has found a home in Spain, where he's going to be judged on more than just height. Yeah, because there is more. These days, that position in itself has changed a lot, many dynamics to it.
You talk about height. You've spoken about height before of goalkeepers, and I said you mentioned Casillas then, and how the UK obviously have this opinion of the height of a goalkeeper, but some of the saves recently, and most recently in the Real Sociedad game, like he was still picking them out of the top corner, and his reflexes were still there,
Oh, look, I think the height is a misleading one. If you, like Matty, have, a vertical jump that is amazing, if you have agility and reflexes, of a cat, a panther-like, tiger-like, so, the height one for me is a little bit, it comes... and it comes back, and it's passed, through the English game over many years, where a lot of the football was, put it in the mixer, and you really needed kind of tall goalkeepers to be able to come out and battle 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" strikers, when there wasn't much protection about. But the game's changed a lot now, and look, as long as you're not a midget, but Matty's around 5'10", 5'11". And the fact that he, every other trait that he has is world class, like Casillas was. Yeah. Then you can get away a little bit with, with the height part, especially in a country like Spain, where, look, when the ball is delivered into the box in Spain, it's delivered with accuracy and precision, but it's not as frequent as the ball is delivered into boxes in the UK.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I think he's suited to a much better league, playing in Spain.
In the La Liga. Now, you've played in Spain. You've managed one of the biggest names in world football, playing for Real Madrid, and that was David Beckham. Now, when you were with Beckham, the El Clasico was probably the biggest thing in football at the time. Yeah. And I could be wrong here, but it seems like the El Clasico that was just played, no one knew about it, Birch. It seemed like it's just dropped off with Messi and Ronaldo sort of leaving. It seems like it's just lost its aura. Is that a fair opinion in your mind, or is that a little bit judgmental?
Look, I think, around every part of the world besides Spain, I think it's a very fair call. I was relatively unaware of many things that were, being discussed around the El Clasico, and for the biggest game in the Spanish calendar, or one of, to almost go by not even a mention of it, on a world media level, on a world media stage, almost as if it was non-existent.
Yeah, and that's where I'm coming from.
It is. I'm not sure if it's worrying, but it certainly puts into perspective, and it makes you think about, the impact that the media have on global football, the press outlets, and what they come out with. Is that what becomes the new big?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's. Does the big change with the movement of players? The Clasico when Messi and Ronaldo and Ramos and these guys were all playing for either or Barcelona or Real Madrid. It was, everybody on the planet knew that it was happening. I happen to know a bit about it because obviously I'm of Spanish background, and I read the Spanish newspapers, the football newspapers, especially Marca. So I'm up to date with things, but I think you're right. I think even within Spain, it's lost a little bit of its sexiness.
Yeah. And I guess big names bring that word sexiness, right? Big names. And there is some still big names in the game, right? But they did lose two of the biggest names in world football, right? And obviously it's led to Koeman's sacking at Barcelona. And obviously they were 1-1 overnight. So they're still not winning games, even though they've sacked their manager. Talk me through that. Do you think it's it's obviously the manager's going to go before the players, right? But was it the right decision?
Oh, look, Koeman was a fantastic player in his day.
Yeah. He's a club legend too, right?
He's a club legend. Holland, Barcelona. But it just shows you the ruthlessness of football at those really, really high levels that, they'll dispense with a club legend, quick smart.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 losses, and it doesn't matter who you are, because you got 100,000 season ticket holders that demand, especially
success.
Those big clubs, they demand success, and they demand a type of football that is beautiful in a way. They're not happy with, playing defensive blocks and winning, on the counter attack. They want a beautiful football. That's why they adored and fell in love with many great players that have come to the club. But it just shows you what Messi, what Ronaldo, what Maradona back in the day, what that ilk of player does on a football level for a club. It changes the whole dynamic of it. It actually changes a generation, within a lifetime. For example, they say, many great sides, win World Cups, etc., or European Cups, and it's kind of a generational thing where Holland were great for a while, West Germany prior to that, etc., or after that, then Italy, won many cups, World Cups, and Spain had fantastic years. It kind of works in generations, and the players we're talking about, Maradona, Ronaldo, the other Ronaldo, Nazario, Zidane, Messi. These are iconic names, iconic figures, once in a lifetime players. And if you're lucky, like Barcelona at the particular time that he joined them, then he was able to almost create, a generation of success. And it's kind of in a different way, but NFL's teams try and do that. So, for example, they get the Kansas City Chiefs get a Mahomes, and they build a franchise on him.
Yeah.
And that, Tom Brady at the Patriots, people build franchises, stadiums, cities. Yes. In basketball as well, and it's not just a 1-year transfer. And these players are just so super that, I've said it before, if Messi had not joined Barcelona and joined Valencia, for example, I actually believe Barcelona would have won half the trophies they won.
Yeah, and Valencia would have won the other half.
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's a good talking point, because it does show the star power and what those sort of players can bring to a club. Yeah, they also don't just bring in cash and whatever else. They also attract better players to the club too, right? So it gives the president and the coach or the manager better players to look at as well.
Oh, look, of course, I know of times where Maradona would talk to players around the world in big teams and say, I want you to come to Napoli with me.
Yeah.
And so these players start dictating who they want around them. LeBron James, he starts dictating, Michael Jordan. Players of this ilk start dictating, who they want around them to then go beyond and above the special talent they have, but you need trophies alongside that, and medals. And, that's the legacy they leave, because they're going to sell millions and millions of shirts and they're idols to children. But at the end of the day, it's like Beckham once said to me, we were walking around with Ronaldo Nazario in his private museum at his home in Madrid. And, I've never seen so many golden boots, World Cup winners, boots, top scorer, best player, 25 Sao Paulo titles, 25 Flamengo, it's just every title to be won on the planet Earth. Yeah, he'd won it, and a couple of them 2-3 times. Yeah, and David Beckham turned to me, and this is a guy that was England captain at the time and had won, FA Cups and English Premierships. He turned to me and he said, "I've won nothing."
Yeah. But
Hey,
it's an inspiration to him. But that's
So you want to, I think at the end of the day, all these great players want to play with each other and want to play around with each other. For example, Beckham. I remember being, at the Camp Nou, talking with Carlos Rexach, the possibility of David signing for Barcelona, and it was a great meet, and it was a VIP all around the football stadium. It was a wonderful day, but David had his mind set on playing with Ronaldo Nazario, with Zidane, with Roberto Carlos, with Figo, with Raul, and who wouldn't want to?
100%.
So there are occasions like that, but look, the Clasico, Barcelona are in big trouble because they have a really, really demanding fan base. They're almost the Real Madrid and Barcelona scenario in Spain is almost like the Celtic Rangers scenario in Scotland, where
man's success, and success is the only thing.
Second is major failure.
Yeah.
Like you've seen nothing like it before. It's major failure.
So with Xavi, is Javi the one to change it?
Well, he's someone that knows the system they want to play. He's someone that has lived it. he
I'll ask you
understands.
this too, but
He understands the pressure that the job comes with.
yeah,
And he's not a silly man. He'll surround himself with fantastic lieutenants.
yeah.
That's the key.
And do you think he's of that ilk then to sign a big name?
He's of the ilk that will attract big names.
Yeah.
Because he knows football. Do
you think that's what Barcelona need now in their situation? They've got Xavi. Do they need?
Well, he was offered the job 3 months after he retired.
Yeah, yeah. So does he need a big signing now to encapsulate the fan base again? Or is just Xavi signing as the gaffer at the moment enough to keep the fan base, I guess, happy?
Look, sometimes, if you look at their squad, 20, 30 players that they have, and you're talking Pedri and all these kind of guys, you would think most of us would be really, really happy with that squad.
Yeah. You now, coaching them.
Yeah, sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we fail to know what's occurring in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Was Koeman not well liked in the dressing room?
Yeah.
Was he unable to empower the boys because he was a club legend? But sometimes foreigners within dressing rooms bring a different message, a different vibe to the dressing room. And he's Dutch. He was, so that's what happens. It may be, Xavi potentially will surround himself with good lieutenants. He is a Barcelona fan favourite, and I think he's done his homework, and done his kind of apprenticeship as such in Qatar, and he may think he's ready for it now.
Right.
Yeah, the timing is perfect. But back to your point about bringing in a big superstar, do they have the money?
Yeah, and that was where I was leading to at the end. I'm not sure they do.
That's one big reason why they lost Messi.
Yeah.
Suarez went a few years ago too. I mean, Koeman shot himself in the foot or the head or whatever you want to shoot yourself, wherever you want to shoot yourself. With the getting rid of Luis Suarez.
Yes, it seemed like that was the downfall, right?
You look at players that change teams, that influence teams, that worry opposition just with the name on the team sheet.
Yeah, that's one.
And Luis Suarez is one.
Yeah.
And you start taking that type of player out of Barcelona, Suarez, Messi, Neymar Jr.
Yeah.
Straight away, visiting teams that Barcelona visit.
They nearly start on the back foot.
Yeah, they're less intimidated.
Yeah.
If you haven't got those three up against you, I'm thinking as a defender, happy days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes life a way a lot easier. But they're a club that are a very big club, but they're a club in a mini crisis of some sort. And Spanish football produces a lot of talent.
Yes.
And clubs like Barcelona, if they don't have the ability to pick out that one or two global superstars that make the difference, then you're competing against teams like Seville, Bilbao, Valencia, all these wonderful football clubs that don't really ever get that superstar, world coverage that Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid get, or even the big English sides. But let me tell you, there's some wonderful talent there. And any game in Spain that you play home or away, man, it's just a beautiful nation to watch a lot of beautiful, special football.
Yeah, and I think also now you with Matty Ryan's performance for Real Sociedad's in his last game, it got a lot of coverage over here in Australia again. And I know we haven't got anyone in the EPL, and Matty obviously second string at Real Sociedad, but you can see the change in the La Liga at the moment. You know, I certainly can anyway, you know, with the teams at the top. And I think Barcelona need that change already.
Look, I think that's good for football itself. You know, I think, you know, Real Sociedad, I have friends, and my friend Julian Lopetegui, former Spanish international, manager of Spain, Real Madrid. He's at Sevilla now. Yeah, he's a product of Real Sociedad Academy. Many great Spanish internationals come out of that Basque region, Athletic Bilbao as well. And for many, many years, they had a policy that no one, even within, you know, without that, no one, you know, that was, you know, not within that region was allowed to play for them. So you could play.
Yeah,
you couldn't play for them if you weren't a Basque.
Yep.
So it was just kids from that area, from that region. It's like saying you can't play for Sydney FC unless you're from New South Wales.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know, and they had no choice but to produce their own talent. And I could sit here and rattle off, 200 Spanish internationals of the highest quality that then went on to play for Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah.
You know, that were produced through these clubs. So, you know, Matty Ryan's gone into a wonderful club with an absolutely magnificent history and fans that working class fans that just love football, and they'll love Matty. You know, he's, you know, most Aussies fit in everywhere.
Yeah, well,
but
he certainly would have warmed. He certainly would have warmed to the fans after his last performance. So, Matty, we congratulate you on that. Now, before we go, Birch, I just want to get a quick couple of sentences out of you around Manchester United. I know we've spoken about this a bit, and it's, look, they beat Tottenham 3-0 overnight. Is Ole safe? I want to know that, because he's had a lot of time, and obviously the 5-0 loss to Liverpool, and now there's big talk around Conte and all these other coaches. Is he hanging by a thread, Birch?
It seems like, you know, coaches at these, you know, really big clubs now, it seems like they're living on a knife's edge or hanging by a thread, you know, every week, doesn't it? It's...
But I want to ask you this. Guardiola loses overnight 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace. There's no talk about him.
No.
You know? And I guess he's got the runs on the board. Is that why?
No, I just think Ole's a bigger story.
Okay.
You know, Ole and Pogba and Ronaldo, and then, you know, so you're talking about 5, 6, 7 players there. You're talking about a player himself that was a club legend, who's now gone into to manage one of the biggest clubs on the planet. You know, with you know, he was in football. I think he managed a couple of, you know, lesser clubs, but it's his really first big job. So it's something that he can be questioned on whether he was ready for that big job, whereas Guardiola's had a couple of other, you know, Barcelona, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
you know, he's hard to knock on that one. But I just think it's for the media, and I've lived in England, I've played in England. You know, after football, I've seen what the media can do, you know, good and bad.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a frenzy of whatever they want and whoever they want to put up on a pedestal and whoever they want to destroy. And it just seems that at the moment, you know, I suppose Manchester United are paying for being so good and excellent and a beacon of world football for a long time, and still are. And so, you know, whatever they do is news. You know, if they win, it's news. If they lose, you know, it's news, and it comes with many other dynamics. And the players they have, you know, it's like the media pick up on something, and, you know, whether it's Pogba, whether it's Ole, whether it's Harry Maguire, whether it's, you know, you assemble a team of stars like that and you don't get results. Media love that.
Yeah.
It's just...
And then And
there's so many angles to shoot him down.
And then Pogba coming on at halftime and then being sent off. There's nearly a story in itself from the media over there. They're still talking about it today.
Well, then they start, asking, does Ole have a good handle on the dressing room?
Yeah.
Where's the discipline? I mean, that happens here at local level, at A-League level. You get if someone like Pogba, a kid in Australia, did that at A-League level, like the manager would go, well, what are you doing? And the media would go, is there a problem in the dressing room? And so, but they've won overnight, 3-0.
Yeah.
So what are the media saying now?
And winning, and Birch, and this from being in dressing rooms, winning patches over every possible issue there is, right? If you're winning, there's no issues. As soon as you start losing.
Exactly. The 3-0 overnight, Ronaldo scores, everything's, boys get back on, on the bus or train or plane, whatever it is, back to Manchester United. The game was away, wasn't it, at Tottenham?
Yeah, it was at Tottenham, yeah.
So it's happy days. I'd be more worried if I was Tottenham. I think it's the first game since maybe in 40 years that they haven't had a shot on goal or on target.
They're in big trouble, Tottenham, big trouble.
Like, seriously, how can you not have one shot on goal?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Like, can someone at Tottenham Hotspur's Football Club tell me how you cannot have one shot on goal? You could actually do that just by kicking off and kicking straight to their goal. There's a shot on goal.
Yeah.
You don't have one shot on goal.
Yeah. I've said it at the start of the season. I wasn't confident in what Tottenham were going to produce, and I'm still not confident.
It beggars belief. Again,
especially for a team like Tottenham too, Birch. Like to not register a shot on goal.
What's another great club? Yeah. Another great club, and if I was a fan, I'd be upset too. You're telling me what's the manager playing? What is he doing that your team can't create? Maybe you got the game wrong. Maybe the game's, it's a fraud.
We've spoken about that before too.
Do you know what I mean? It's a big fraud.
Yeah,
and I just feel, leave Ole alone for a while. Yeah. Okay, let him get on with his job and give him a year, and see what the table tells. The table will tell a story at the end of the year. Okay, if you're gonna for the newspapers in the UK, if you're gonna pop people like the manager of Tottenham.
Start because popping the right people.
Yeah, because
and look, I do agree. Look, they obviously lost 5-0 to Liverpool. It's a big story, right? But now the media should show him some sort of love after beating Tottenham 3-0, right? So let's see what the headlines are moving forward about the 3-0 win.
And sometimes things happen in football. Sometimes, remember West Germany. Did they beat Brazil 7-0 in a World Cup final? Was it, or 7-0? Was it, or 7-1?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Brazil isn't a shit football nation.
That's right. It's one of those days.
One of those days it happens. It happens in all sports. Rugby league, NFL, whatever you want to, whatever sport you want to, talk about. There are days that things just don't go right. But I believe Ole and that Manchester United side. There's enough in there to be able to come back and start producing good football and winning more games than they lose. The problem you have for all these teams now on the planet, whether it's in England, whether it's in Spain, whether it's in Italy, there's not one side that just totally dominates anymore. You've got 3, 4, 5 sides that all have money, are all backed by billionaires, and that's difficult.
And they've
because
deep squads now too.
Yeah,
so.
and coming second and third is deemed failure.
Yeah,
by billionaire owners who sometimes don't even have a clue about football,
but want a trophy.
Yeah, they want a trophy. So you know what? I'm going to ignore your 10-year playing career and your 5-year fantastic managerial career, but you've come third this year, so I'm going to sack you.
Yeah. And here's your cash on the way out. See you
later.
later.
Yeah. So, is that good? Do some managers embrace that? Jose's probably got 100 million euros in the bank from being sacked.
He just buys a house every time he gets sacked.
Yes. So who's the clever one?
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah. He's not only the special one, he's the clever one.
Yeah, he's both.
Yes.
He's both. Now, Birch, thank you for today. We had a real Spanish day, so we hope the listeners and the viewers got what we were talking about and understood how good Matty Ryan is going at Real Sociedad and what the La Liga is sort of from a person who's been there and done it in Andy Burnell himself. So, Birch, thank you, mate.
Pleasure, mate.
And we can't thank DS Tipping and Excavations enough for their support. So jump on to their social media and have a look at what Sever's doing. So, Sever, thank you, mate. Ignify Legal, Ian and the team, jump on their social media if you need any legal advice. Ian and the team are super people and they can help you out. And Sensor Studios and his team, Jeff and his team, behind what we do each week. If you need any live streaming videography, get them on social media. And Jeff, again, thank you, my man. We can't do this without you. And obviously, MG Active. Visit mgactive.com.au for your 5-day free pass. And Monster Clothing, your place to go for some great quality all year round casual clothing based around some pretty epic builds. So, Birch, we can't do it without the help of those people. You've had a big week, mate. And unfortunately, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, Dan Hooker lost this morning. We're filming on a Sunday, so he lost this morning.
Yeah, it's look, we as a family are very proud of him. When you're fighting at those levels of the UFC, it's like we've just had a show on it. You're playing in the upper echelon of the EPL, La Liga, Serie A. So top 5, 6 in the world. Dan's a wonderful fighter. He came up against a guy today who's a master of the ground game, and for us, we're very proud that he's fighting on those big stages. He'll come back. He's a real tough guy. He'll be disappointed because he loves a scrap. He's a Kiwi that loves a scrap, and it was kind of one of those ones where you get caught in with your arm where you don't want it to be, and but the plus, is that he comes out of it unscathed. He's upset about it. I see he posted something up on his My Story. It was hello darkness, my old friend. You've come to visit me again. So he's if there's one character trait that he has that is almost superhuman, it's resilience. And he'll come back and he'll put on more shows and it was one of those days where that's that game. You're living on that kind of knife's edge.
And there's something about Abu Dhabi, Dan.
Mate.
We're right behind him here at the round ball, and mate, he probably needs to fight someone else other than Abu Dhabi, right?
Oh, mate, it's like he'll be climbing up the walls right now, I reckon, or just wanting to fight. Because it's, that happens after a minute or two, and you kind of think, well, I wanted to fight for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He'd rather have a great scrap and take a beating. Yeah, but you know what? From my daughter's point of view and my granddaughter's point of view, he came out of it disappointed, but not a scratch on him and no head trauma. And at the end of the day, that's the game, and it's a dangerous game. And we're all very pleased that, he comes out nice and safe.
Perfect. And Dan, mate, you're a genius and a legend, mate. So thank you. And Andy Burnell, I'll see you next week.
Thank you, my man. Happy to be here again.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Ronaldo, yeah!